What's the personality type of Jennifer Lawrence? In today's video, let's try and figure that out.
You told the kids at school you had a wooden leg. Yeah. Now, that's most kids want to fit in. That is a very unusual.
I needed to stick out.
I needed to stick out. Interesting.
One, I really loved surgery. I liked the idea of surgery. I wanted to have an appendicitis attack so bad.
Wow.
I hated field trips because we were all treated like cattle. And I was like, I'm not one of you. I'm different. And I think I probably just wanted to stick out, even if it was a wooden leg.
Wow. So like they're really wanting to be seen as an individual. They're seriously like bursting out of her chest. No, I'm an individual. I want to be seen as an individual. Also there, did you see how the wooden leg thing was inspired by her liking the idea of surgery, just sort of being curious and fascinated by it to a sort of ridiculous extent where she was like, I sort of want my appendix removed. How crazy would that be?
I just knew that I was weird and different, and I knew that I was smart, but the evidence just didn't agree.
Did people think you were ADHD or?
Oh yeah, I was everything. I would think something and then feel it.
I would think something and then feel it. So like ideas sort of stirring up her interpersonal feelings or being connected to her interpersonal feelings. That's interesting.
She says she was dramatic, filled with so much volatile feeling. Her brothers called her Nitro.
No, you don't know why somebody's telling a story and then you're sobbing. It just makes you look like you're trying to get all the attention.
Yeah, her feeling things quite personally as an individual in sometimes a dramatic and volatile way.
What should I do? Just wrap up this conversation and put a break and do it the next day. Okay, well, when we come back, wrap up the conversation. So, okay, Kim. No! Very funny stuff. When we come back, I have many deeply personal...
Something I noticed watching Jennifer is she's really bad actually at fitting in. A lot of times it seems like she actually doesn't want to fit in. She's very comfortable not fitting in and acting like a normal, in quotes, celebrity.
Strange dude.
That represents Earth.
You're
Look at Jimmy's reaction.
I know.
spoiling a little bit.
I know.
You're spoiling.
I really can't help it.
Stop
I feel
it.
Like, I know, but I feel like
Don't
the
tell
metaphors
people
are so...
what.
Jennifer has this thing where she doesn't take rules super seriously. She just likes sort of being herself, expressing herself, and a lot of times what she does or says or shares, it's not super appropriate, but she sort of embraces it. She sort of leans into it.
And then I came to the Oscars. I'm sorry, I did a shot before I... Sorry.
What did you do for the last 3 years?
I just had a ton of sex.
Watching Jennifer, how much she cares about her individuality, likes to express her authentic self, even when it's quirky and weird and totally doesn't fit in with what's appropriate, the social context going on around her. Those are very strong signals that point to her personality type being really good at something called introverted feeling. Introverted feeling is a personality superpower that lets certain personality types be amazing at emotionally sorting out what really feels right to them, what really feels authentic to them at an individual level. All the FP personality types that use introverted feeling all the time are constantly checking in with how things make them feel, and they're very, very big on expressing their individuality and presenting themselves, expressing themselves in a way that really feels authentic to them, in line with their sort of like emotional personal compass. No, that doesn't quite feel right to me. No, that just makes me feel weird. I can't do that. I'm not gonna do that.
You were on the school bus and you said to yourself, it would be funny if I threw myself out of the bus.
I was reading a book called Ransom, where kids get kidnapped by their bus driver. I scream, she's kidnapping us.
Oh my God.
We pull up and he's like, and this is where the fishermen clean all the fish out. You know, so there's all these sharks here. And I was like, sack! I just jumped in.
Wow. Okay, so definitely seems like she's more on the spontaneous side, or can be quite spontaneous. Being this open to things sort of points to her being one of the 4 EP personality types. Let's keep watching though.
Even you would knock on your own front door as a character.
Yeah.
And that would annoy the shit out of them, right?
I was awful. You would have to answer the door and go along with whoever I was. Normally her name was Judy and my car broke down. And
right.
You know, and then you'd have to let me in her house and I'd like do this whole, you know.
In these clips when Jennifer is talking about goofing around and improvising, notice how for her, it's sort of following the idea of things that's most fun, most hilarious to her. And the ideas, connections that she likes to generate very quickly, they're always pulling from unexpected places or throwing things off, taking things in unexpected directions.
Francis Lawrence, director.
Josh Hutcherson, actor.
Jennifer Lawrence, doctor.
Well, what'd you make of the experience? Not as easy as it looks, is it?
Pretty easy. Not that hard. But in the sense of something kind of falling on you, or not falling on you, like a big piano. What I have in my head is actually pretty interesting. There's no way I'm going to be able to get it out.
But I noticed with her, there's a lot of idea jumping or ideas and connections sort of scattering or expanding very quickly.
From the South, a different part of the South, South Carolina.
Where? South Carolina.
Yeah, from Charleston, South Carolina.
I love North Carolina. I've never been to South Carolina. Yes, I have. Myrtle Beach. Sorry.
Wow, that was an emotional roller coaster.
Like with her, it really seems like the ideas just sort of zip around, connecting to other things, just sort of exploding and expanding without her really trying.
I want to go on vacation with you.
No, my vacation her name is Gail.
That's not Gail, right?
No, that's someone else. I just met her the other night. I feel like her name ends with an E. Or like Veronica or something.
She's really good at bringing unexpected things into the conversation, generating unexpected possibilities on the spot in a way that really lines up with her personality type being good at something called extroverted intuition. Extroverted intuition is a special way of exploring the outside world that especially likes to explore and play around in idea land. All the NP personality types that use extroverted intuition all the time love thinking about what ifs and what could be's. They really love rethinking things, drifting away from what's expected or accepted to consider, explore some possibilities, unexpected connections most people wouldn't normally go for. Ooh, what if there's something here? What if we thought about this completely differently? What if this was connected to this, was connected to this, was connected to this? Anything that generates possibilities involves sort of this could be connected to this. That is exactly the type of intuition, exploring, playing, pattern spotting that NP personality types especially find entertaining and energizing.
I'm gonna start getting toddlers into politics. Every time I'm drunk, I turn into this. I think she's like some sort of like tortoise gambler or something. I fell in every single city on the press tour. I fell around the world.
I fell around the world.
Jennifer's idea jumping, combined with her introverted feeling that's huge on personal authenticity, is why she's constantly jumping off the script, saying things that are very spontaneous and unexpected, but at the same time super authentic. Like very, very her, totally have her personal fingerprint on things. For her, these two personality superpowers working together make it so that her interpersonal feelings and ideas and individuality are all super connected, super mixed together. The ideas are a fun way for her to express herself, express her individuality. The ideas trigger feelings, the feelings trigger ideas, which usually makes it so that when Jennifer's personality type is sharing ideas, it's not just sharing ideas, it's usually very colorful. Usually there's a lot of personality thrown in there. One of the things that always catches my attention about Jennifer's personality type is their ability to play around with ideas and sort of just explore them, have fun with them without taking them too seriously, without putting too much weight on the ideas and trying to decide in the moment whether they're good or bad. Like I'm the type of person that's always sort of sorting and filtering, trying to close doors and figure out what makes sense to me. But for them, they're able to just play, imagine, and express themselves in such an open way. I find myself learning a lot from, being really, really inspired by.
So are you shy?
No.
I like him not wasting time and just like cutting the bullshit. It's just a job like any other. Like sometimes you're gonna be good and sometimes you're gonna be bad. Like I like it when somebody's like, that was bad, do it again.
In this clip, do you see how Jennifer is super different from some of the other silly, goofy interviews we watched earlier? She's a lot calmer. This is a more serious side of her. She's in some ways sort of detached. She's very pragmatic. Hey, just tell me when it's bad. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. This is just work.
It's just work. It's a very strange job, but that's all it is. That one was bad. Be better on this one. Like that makes more sense to me than like, I feel like your character would be, I'm just like, yeah, do you want me to talk louder, slower? Like it's like a coach. Like
That's so
harder,
great.
faster. I respond better to that.
Something interesting and surprising about Jennifer's personality type is when it comes to their work, or whenever they've got a project going on, or whenever they have like a sort of a goal in mind that they're fixated on, they have this unemotional, much flatter, much more serious side of them that pops out. And it's really different from what you might expect from them if you were only familiar with their idea jumping, feely, sensitive, playful side. This is because Jennifer's feely, expressive side, it's actually only 1/2 of the equation. Every time you have an FP personality type that uses introverted feeling all the time, those personality types always also have this thinky side of them, this more detached, logical side of them that sorts things out using a different personality superpower called extroverted thinking. Extrovert thinking is a logical decision-making style that likes to depersonalize things, that likes to take the emotion out of things to just focus on what works, what will get the job done. It's very results-oriented, goal-oriented, task-oriented. It's very into resource management and being efficient. This is where Jennifer's colder, pragmatic sides come from. It's the side of her personality type that can sometimes get intense about work mode, sort of pushing on things or getting randomly sort of more assertive about things. Just tell me what to do and I'm gonna make that happen no matter what. Ooh, I have this idea that I want this to happen, so I'm gonna turn off my feelings, sort of push on things, get more assertive about things to make that happen, to explore this possibility.
Why are you nervous?
Because I feel like everybody hates me.
Why?
Because of the internet.
Jennifer's very expressive when she's being silly, but in terms of actually being more open and vulnerable, Jennifer didn't always seem super comfortable with that. In longer, more one-on-one interviews, both from a long time ago and more recent, I saw a lot of clues and examples of Jennifer actually being more restrained, sort of using her extroverted thinking to hold her feelings back, put some walls up, and protect herself.
Yeah, well, everybody knows, you know, I'm rude.
Once I enter a public place, I become incredibly rude. I turn into a huge asshole.
You get icy?
And that's that's kind of like my only way of defending myself. Is just being
Put the blockade.
just be an asshole. Like see somebody walking towards my table, just go.
Here, do you see how Jennifer is using her extroverted thinking to sort of put up this boundary so she can keep moving forward, being herself, actually herself, and not sort of the person that everyone wants her to be or expects her to be because she's famous. That being said, I was still a little confused and surprised how much this extroverted thinking side of Jennifer would pop up during interviews. There'd be times when it seemed like she was holding herself back from idea jumping too much, or being too weird, or too animated, or too quirky, and I couldn't figure out why her personality superpowers were showing up in this way, being expressed and leaned into in this particular way, why she was feeling sort of self-conscious sometimes about her ideas and feelings. And so I sort of got curious, dug around a little bit, did some research, and I stumbled across these comments she made about her upbringing. And in particular, what caught my attention was when she started talking about feedback she got growing up from her 2 older brothers.
I always talk so fast because I'm used to my brothers just being like, finish, shut up.
No, please.
I feel like nobody wants to hear me talk.
I want to hear.
They were very instrumental into making me not as annoying as I would naturally be. Every time I tell a story, here's an idea, have a point, and get to it quicker.
Do you see how getting that feedback growing up would totally change how you use your personality superpowers, or how you feel about them, how Jennifer feels about her idea jumping, letting it go too far?
You know, anytime I was crying because somebody was mean to me, they were like, they were probably mean because you were a jerk. Why do you think anybody cares? And then I'm like, oh, right. Nobody does care. You only talk about yourself. Oh my God, he's totally right.
If you think you might be the same personality type as Jennifer, with a lot of idea jumping, thinking about the what ifs and what could be's, a lot of interpersonal feeling, caring a lot about your personal authenticity, but also at the same time having this extroverted thinking side that can sometimes shut down the feelings, make you put down your own feelings, make you put up walls, sort of get less comfortable checking in with how you're actually doing, how you're actually feeling, maybe even shutting down your idea jumping, the side of you that's very optimistic, that likes dreaming about the what ifs and what could be's. I hope today's video can remind you how special and important your extroverted intuition and introverted feeling personality superpowers are in terms of who you actually are. Those are 2 super strong building blocks in your personality, and even though, yes, boundaries and walls and sort of keeping yourself in check is important. If you try to sort of push down those sides too much, if you try to pretend like those sides aren't there, I mean, think about Jennifer. That would be erasing such a core, important part of her personality. What makes her so special and relatable and funny. I actually think your extroverted thinking is an amazing part of your personality, amazing for making things happen and pushing towards your goals and dreams. But in terms of what's not as amazing is if you're using it sometimes to distract yourself from your feelings or completely avoid checking in whether or not you're actually feeling okay. If you think you might be the same personality type as Jennifer and things are sort of not feeling okay or haven't been feeling okay, I hope maybe this week you can take some time to actually listen to yourself. Slow things down, take some space away from the noise and distractions and work that normally capture your attention to instead listen carefully to how you're actually feeling. Ask yourself if you're actually doing okay. The stuff going on around you, how is that really making you feel? And even if some sort of messy, complicated stuff pops up, don't run away, actually sort of listen to it, even just for a couple minutes, even for just an afternoon or something. I'm sure it'll really help you out, help you take better care of yourself and find better clarity, conviction about who you are, what you want, what you need, some things you might want to change, and why exactly you are doing what you're doing. From the personality patterns that showed up over and over again watching Jennifer Lawrence, quite strong extroverted intuition, introverted feeling, extroverted thinking with some introverted sensing in there. The fingerprint match that makes the most sense to me for Jennifer Lawrence is that she's an ENFP personality type. This past week on Patreon, I uploaded 2 super in-depth videos breaking down how different personality types sometimes distort reality. How we all of us, accidentally sometimes can hurt and confuse each other using our intuitive and sensing personality superpowers. I'm super proud of these videos and they might be some of the most useful, practical, in-depth videos I've ever made, filled with stuff I've never talked about before that you can totally use for the rest of your life that I really wish I knew years and years ago that could have helped me a lot with my relationships and friendships. If you guys are curious to check out those videos for yourself, they're waiting for you right now on Patreon. Link down below in the description. You are the change maker of your own life. Let's think more deeply. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace. Bye.